I get along best with creative people. I've always had the creative, tint in me. I'm a marketer. I love brand management, and that's what it is. Otherwise, besides that, I'm a mom to a young teenager. I'm getting used to that, and I'm quite crazy. I'll give you an example. Is like how we used to just wear normal kurtas. So we evolved, and the designers came up with an asymmetric hemline, which is like a high-low kurta today, people call it. We did it and we created a shot out of it, and that was my campaign. And trust me, it just sold so many pieces because that was something new. I mean, it was a small innovation of a hemline, which actually created a new look, which people wanted to try. And today it's everywhere. We've had Priyanka Chopra, Kareena Kapoor. Um, we've actually have pictures of them spotted in, like I was telling you about the asymmetric hemline, that particular style. We've had all of them wearing that style. So these are things which happen organically.
10 दिन बाद आप हमारे घर पे क्यों नहीं आते?
क्यों?
सर तब तक मैं कुछ बनाना सीख लूंगा, फिर आ जाइएगा आप लड़का देखने.
How would you like strangers to remember you?
As an extremely loving, dear, and like I said, a crazy girl.
Yeah. Hello, fellows. Welcome to the next episode of Jagged with Jasravi. Subscribe to my channel for conversations at the edge with thought leaders from the marketing, branding, and the business world. Conversations that ignite new ideas with rough and sharp edges. Hi, Ekta. Thrilled to have you on my show.
Hi, Jasravi. It's a pleasure.
Ekta, I know you since a long time, but for my audiences, I request you to tweet your profile. If you had to do that, what would you say?
I get along best with creative people. I've always had the creative, tint in me. I'm a marketer. I love brand management, and that's what it is. Otherwise, besides that, I'm a mom to a young teenager. I'm getting used to that. I'm a girlfriend to my, and I'm quite crazy.
Yay! And you preserved it. Awesome. Ekta, we'll start with you're currently with BIBA. You've been there since many years. We'll start with the campaign that really disrupted the fashion industry in terms of the types of communication that we're used to seeing. How did that thought process happen? What were the key challenges? What were the key insights? What were the goals? What were you really trying to achieve when you took the campaign around change? And you've been consistent for many years across that same theme.
Yes, we did work on the Change is Beautiful campaign, which was about 6 years back. That's where we were actually also going through a brand identity change. We were redesigning our logo because we actually realized that there is a lot of change which is happening in the market with our own product, with our customer, and we wanted to make a good change. And besides the logo, we also ran a campaign on Change is Beautiful. And along with that, we decided to also, go to the digital medium because that time it was still picking up. And we wanted to create a movement literally with this campaign. With digital, the advantage was the reach and delivering the right message. Being an apparel brand, I think mostly we'll find that people are always focusing on the product, showcasing what is new, and that's what a lot of audiences do want to see. But we also realize that there is so much more than just the product, which is about the brand. There's an aura about the brand which you need to speak about. And being an all woman brand, Change is Beautiful it just so beautifully lent itself to so many stories, which led to like a lot of brand conversations.
Mhm.
Our first film was about Change the Convention. It was about, a simple thought about arranged marriages, how a girl is supposed to just identify and say yes to a boy over a cup of chai and samosa, and it just hit the right chord. We went viral in 24 hours, and till date I think there are so many channels on the internet that keep posting it. We have over 25 million views on that particular video even till date.
अभी तक तैयार नहीं हुई? नीचे सब लोग इंतजार कर रहे हैं।
पापा, सिर्फ समोसे खिला के कैसे डिसाइड कर लूं कि जिंदगी इसी के साथ बितानी है?
जल्दी आना।
अरे नहीं, बस बस, आपने पहले ही बहुत खिला दिया। हमें तो आपकी पायल बहुत पसंद आई। तो मैं ये रिश्ता पक्का समझूं?
जी जरूर, लेकिन हमें भी तो आपके घर आना होगा।
मोस्ट वेलकम जी, पर क्यों?
हमारी बेटी को भी देखना है कि आपका लड़का घर संभाल सकता है या नहीं, खाना बना सकता है या नहीं। तभी तो हम देंगे अपनी लड़की।
इसे तो पानी उबालना भी नहीं आता, बस कभी कभी नूडल्स वगैरह बना लेता है माइक्रोवेव में।
माफ कीजिएगा, मेरी बेटी सिर्फ नूडल्स पर जिंदा तो नहीं रह सकती ना।
सर, 10 दिन बाद आप हमारे घर पे क्यों नहीं आते?
क्यों?
सर, तब तक मैं कुछ बनाना सीख लूंगा, फिर आ जाइएगा आप लड़का देखने।
That was a great hit. We had so many people writing into us. We got a lot of youngsters, who started relating to the brand because they just suddenly realized that it's not only about, my mom going and shopping with BIBA, but they do have they care about women. They are speaking out loud. We are talking about the right issues at the right time. And we were having a lot of conversation with our customers, with people, all the fans who were writing in. And in fact, the storyboard or the thought for the next video also came from one of our customers, because we simply asked them a question: what is it that bothers you in today's day and age, and what is it that you would like us to talk about next? And trust me, we had so many women writing to us about dowry. In today's day and age also, we have the dowry system which prevails, and it actually disturbs and touches so many people's lives. So you know we actually went ahead, took that as a cue, and the next film was on dowry. And this led to, again, this was very successful. And post this, we went on to catch many other nuances and little things in our society which still exist. The way people look at women, or the fact that a woman is supposed to only study to a certain point, and after that anyway she's going to get married. So these are little thoughts that we took on, and we created a lot of films, and we've got a lot of customer love for the same, and it has worked really well for the brand.
Yeah, absolutely. It is so heartwarming, because typically BIBA, and we'll get to the genesis of BIBA and what values it represents. BIBA, those ads are showcasing the beauty of tradition, and being traditional does not necessarily mean being regressive. Tradition can be a celebration of heritage and your roots, and all that was so beautiful because there is no confrontation. When the woman says that how can I marry a man just over samosas, everybody is adjusting and understanding and adapting to the woman's need in that story. The father understands and makes a request to the boy, and the boy understands and says, okay, fine, I'm going to make this change, and will that be okay?
So it just blended so well with a little change that the guy says that you come home after a week and I will also cook something for you. That just is so beautiful. We actually had options of 2 endings for this film from the agency, but with our instinct we just went with this one, and I just think that it worked really well.
Yeah. In some way, isn't this representative of what BIBA stands for and how its product also has evolved? Ekta, we'll talk about the innovation strategy, etc. later. But at this point in time, tell us how it all started. What would you say, looking back, were the 3 key milestones, and what are the success factors of a brand like BIBA? Because it is one of the largest fashion apparel brand.
So we do have, like you mentioned just Ravi, BIBA has a great heritage. It was started by our chairperson, Mrs. Meena Bindra, who was a housewife herself, and she was not trained in design, but she always had a great aesthetic. And much later in life, post her sons were in school and her husband was away at work, she had free time, and she decided that let me do something for myself, and she started working with block print suits in Bombay, and started selling it out of her own house. That's how it all began. She gained a lot of customers, and a lot of people started coming in to buy those salwar kameezes. They used to call them like salwar sets, and they used to, because that time there was no organized branded player at that point in time. So she started from a house. She took a loan of 8,000 rupees from a bank, and that's how it started. Very small, but she had a great aesthetic. She found a lot of love from customers. Ladies used to come to her house over a cup of tea and buy those Punjabi suits that they would call it. And slowly, she started making more and more. And then she realized that, now I need a bill book and I need to have a name to this. And she just coined the name Biba because it means like a young, pretty girl in Punjabi. And it just was very easy to even pronounce for everybody. It kind of stuck on, it worked really well. So today we asked her what was the thought process. She said, I hardly thought about it, but it just worked so well. So it started from there. And then I think once the retail revolution happened and we had stores like Benzers and Shoppers Stop that came in, and they started retailing Biba. We were the first organized player in the market who actually had branded Indian wear for women, which was being retailed. And even in Shoppers Stop, we were the first to actually form the whole shop in shop concept. So our managing director with the shoppers team, they actually came up with that concept of that we will have our own small store inside your store and we will run it. So that's how the entire shop in shop happened, and that worked really well, which also gave them courage to start opening their own retail outlet. And then the journey began. I mean, it started uh, 23 years back, the first store that came up, and today we have over 315 exclusive outlets of Biba across 115 cities. That's how it began. And we were, I mean, the advantage was that we were in a space where people were so used to just buying the cloth, then going to a master to get it stitched, or first getting some embroidery done, going and looking for buttons and laces. So it was quite a tedious process, and it involved a lot of people. And here they were getting a great product, which is a ready-made garment, and at a great price. That's something that they always believed in, that finding the best in fashion at the best prices.
uh, Beautiful. And who hasn't bought a Biba,
Like I say, anyone who has a woman in their life, be it a mother, girlfriend, daughter,
Yeah.
wife, would definitely know Biba, and they would be buying Biba.
When we were talking earlier, what really struck me as very intrinsic to a brand like Biba was that this can be easily a brand of three generations. Three mother's daughter, daughters. Like it is in our cases. So keeping keeping the tradition and the beauty of all our heritage of the karigari and the cloths that's made available, and yet keeping it contemporary. What is the innovation strategy? One can't be above comparison. One has to make things available that others are making available, yet brand boundaries are clearly etched out too, because you cannot lose who you are. That, and also because you guys are penetrating small towns big time. If you could share what is the product strategy for those towns in terms of how are they progressing to embrace newer designs?
Okay, so there are a couple of things here that you've touched on.
Yes.
And so I think in terms of product, just Ravi, what you said, yes, we very beautifully, being a fashion brand, cater to three generations. So today, if I enter a Biba store, I can buy something for myself, I can buy something for my mother, my mother-in-law, and for my daughter. And it's different fashion for each one. So it's not like, my mom shops from here and I will not shop from here. So the product has really evolved. So started as a salwar kameez dupatta brand, we then moved into a mix and match category, which allowed people to buy, say, two kurtas with one bottom, one dupatta, so that gave them And there are some women who like to do this mix and match, so that it gives them this creative feel, and they feel like I'm wearing something new even with the same garment. They like to style it. And then we also launched a couple of years later BIBA Girls, which is a brand for the 2 to 15-year-olds. So it's one of the, again, we were the first ones to come up with an Indian wear for little girls. And we have so many young ones who come and twirl at our stores, and they feel so happy wearing those lehengas. And so the product has evolved a lot over a period of time. So I'll give you an example is like how we used to just wear normal kurtas, so we evolved, and the designers came up with an asymmetric hemline, which is like a high-low kurta today, people call it. We did it and we created a shot out of it, and that was my campaign. And trust me, it just sold so many pieces because that was something new. And I mean, it was a small innovation of a hemline, which actually created a new look, which people wanted to try, and today it's everywhere. So it's all about coming up with the latest trends and still, being within the boundary, not losing your Indianness. Today the fusion category has evolved, and there is such
Hmm.
a thin line between what is traditional and what is fusion. So, like for example, a dress kurta, that's what they call it. It's almost like a kurta, but you're not wearing a bottom, or you have the choice of choosing one if you feel like it. But both with a bottom or without a bottom, it's a great outfit, and women feel safe, they feel fashionable, and it just works so beautifully for everybody. So these are the kind of things which one needs to come up with at the right time, and to be able to market it, to everybody. And talking about the point that you brought in about tier 2 and tier 3 cities, I think fashion for them is the same. Sometimes we do see that it takes a little longer for them to adapt to the newer styles, but it does happen. So we definitely see that the metros, people are more open to trial, and trying something completely new, which they see probably even in the Western apparel, the changes that are happening, and they are quicker to adapt, is what I'd say. But I think the aspiration of even the tier 2, tier 3 towns is almost the same as an aspiration in the metros, because
Hmm.
now with digital, with them accessing everything online, I think they are really fast evolving.
Okay. Ekta, like you talked about the boundaries, uh, what would you say are the boundaries? What kind of product you would not find at Biba? And is that like pre-decided? No matter, I mean, Biba will not get into this kind of a product. Like for example, Western, definitely they would not get into. So, is there anything else like that? Like you were mentioning earlier when you were talking small towns, you were saying they don't want skin show, they want to
Yes.
look modern, but they'd like to be able to step out with their mother-in-law without attracting too much attention or something like that, right?
Yeah, so it's very interesting when you talk about trends in small town. Uh, we've done a lot of research. We have spoken to a lot of customers, and there are different small nuances which actually make a lot of difference in their lives, and
Mhm.
which give you a very good insight on product. We do see that we were seeing there was a point in time where maybe sleeveless styles were not selling very well in certain towns, and we wanted to speak to, because sleeveless is not something which is over the top. So we don't do anything which is really over the top, and where you'd find that, oh, this is not really Indian wear, or this is something that is not in line with our creations. But when we spoke to a lot of women, they felt that when they were stepping out of the house, you know they would uh, uh, they would probably get glares from their mother-in-law or from the elderly in the house if they wore sleeveless tops and or a kurta and went outside. So what they would do is they would wear a jacket or a cape on top, and once they are out, they would remove it. So we said, why not make a style like that? And we created layers. So
Mhm.
we do have so many outfits which have a sleeveless top, and over that we give a nice, even if it's like a sheer cape, but it just kind of it's almost like a dupatta styled in a different form.
Yeah.
It gives them that feeling of having a drape around them, and it still gives them the freedom of feeling stylish, like I said, and yet safe at the same time.
Mhm.
Small town girls, we've also spoke to them. They use a lot of two wheelers. They wanted
Mhm.
something which is comfortable, even if it's Indian wear, which is comfortable for them to ride. So we also did a lot, we do a lot of kurtis. which is great for them to wear with jeans or with even our own, pants that we make. And they tie these scarves around their faces and they're all ready to go. So, that gives you so many ideas in terms of doing kurtis, doing comfortable pants, do have a scarves collection to cater to all these small needs and nuances.
Yeah. So, very lovely insights, Ekta. Uh, what would you say? Okay, so I know, because I know you since such a long time. You've worked across so many categories, isn't it? Now, I'm going to put this question in two ways to you. One is, what did you find unique about fashion category across the years? If you look back, would you say that, these are the characteristics of fashion industry marketing uh, that perhaps no other category would have? B, there's a B part. Looking back, what would you say in terms of how people relate to with fashion has changed? So 8 years back and now, what is it, would you say, uh, is present today that wasn't there earlier, or vice versa?
Fashion has really changed. It has
Hmm.
changed. And I think we've seen a huge change, especially post the pandemic.
Hmm.
I think the way people have started consuming fashion or thinking about fashion
Hmm.
post the pandemic, we had a lot of learnings from there. So clearly, the first was that people were definitely moving towards quality over quantity. We suddenly saw there were a lot of more people who were shopping at Biba during the pandemic because of the quality. So even if it means spending an extra some amount, but to get the right garment, because you know that it will last you long and it's going to stay in fashion for a longer time. So the fast fashion trend, from there to actually literally buy, instead of buying four pieces, if the same woman was buying three or four pieces earlier, now she came for maybe two pieces, but she picked up the right ones, which would cater to her needs. So there definitely there was a change. Then there was a change on, you know about dressing comfortably. This whole thing about the work from home collection, that was coined because it was about smart casuals. It was about, getting ready for Zoom meetings, just wearing a nice top because that's all that's going to be visible, and we know everybody was just wearing comfortable bottoms. So that actually gave, we actually, everybody came up with a work from home collection. We had a lot of kurtis that we were promoting, which had lovely work on the yoke or an interesting sleeves, etc., which were great for Zoom calls. And we also were marketing comfortable pants for people to lounge in. In fact, during the pandemic is also the time we were quick enough to come up with a loungewear collection, and it did really well because that was the need of the hour, and everybody wanted comfortable clothing that they would wear through the day for meetings. They could quickly run around and do some errands at home because everybody knows you were doing multitasking during the pandemic days. So literally, this was like a multitasking kurta that was working with you through the day, and this is the fashion that actually came into being. And even today, I think when we go to office, you do see a change that people who have accepted smart casuals, and because it's really about comfort, good quality and comfort. And of course, the third thing I think what we have seen is the whole movement towards you know um, sustainability, about buying, about giving back going green, buying fabric, which, a lot of people are buying fabrics which have antiviral properties. They're actually searching for things like that. People are spending more time outside with nature, so this whole thing about being with nature has definitely come into more people's minds post the pandemic. And this is the future also, I think, in fashion. That have I mean You continuously read articles about how fast fashion is causing harm to the environment.
Mhm. Absolutely. We have resorted to, in I think in every category, move to preferring brands that we trust. That is something that way the big brands have really benefited. And of
Absolutely.
course, the other categories, because of our lifestyle, huge lifestyle change. Ekta, in this category, since the last is this correct that the advertising has changed big time? in the sense that it's almost politically incorrect to talk about just how a person looks in the communication, even if the visual imagery is uh, posturing and showcasing the collection, yet there is an attempt to infuse some soul, some meaning to the communication for a deeper for displaying a deeper understanding of the woman, an appreciation of who she is on the inside. Is that right? Is this really happening?
So I think, just Ravi, it's also to do with, it's very important being an apparel or a fashion brand to showcase your product. And, we have seen that what is out there does sell more, than maybe a piece which is just hanging in your store. So that is almost like a catalog approach. So, brands cannot move away from that completely. I mean, it's always a battle about whether you want to do a brand campaign or you want to do a product campaign, So we are constantly talking about that thought and we're saying, what is it? So when you say that, yes, if you want to have a connect with the customer, if you want her to, to be able to talk about the brand, make it feel that it's a part of your life, and it does, it gives me that feeling of just more than just being a product or a piece of clothing, then yes, those conversations are extremely important. And I think it's very important, to be able to connect with the woman, for her to be able to remember you and consider you the next time.
So you would balance out both things and maybe use
Yes, absolutely. Because
different mediums for
for the
different.
business, it is. I mean, I can't do. I mean, a complete season without actually showcasing my product. See, because from our perspective, we have so many new styles that we've come up with. For this season, we have brought back salwars. So that's a new thing that's happening. Salwars had gone out completely. Everybody had moved to churidars and then pants, and then there were dhoti pants and skirts that were happening. But this summer now, actually salwars are coming back, and we are bringing back salwars. We have something called lounge in salwars. There are different, shorter kurtas are coming back. So a very interesting, beautiful collection. But how do I tell my customer that BIBA has this? So I have to be able to use different mediums to, can it be e-catalogs? Can it be just communication that's running in my screens? Can it be through influencers, which is a huge strategy I think that most fashion brands are taking on today? Because our customers are all, yeah, always on the phone. They are following all these celebrities. They're following all these influencers, and they actually take style tips from there.
Yeah. So influencer strategy, how does it go for BIBA? Like you were talking earlier, that one thing that definitely influencers are able to showcase is styling tips, because people go for a look. And definitely if a salwar is making a comeback, there is going to be some twist. Familiar with a twist is always good for the young people. So what is the influencer strategy for BIBA? Is there anything, or the kind of influencers you would choose? Would there be some kind of values matching also seen, like it's typically done for celebrities? How does it happen?
So we have different influencers that we work with. It's not that we have a set of influencers who we work with.
They're
so
micro influencers, is it?
There are micro and macro.
Okay.
We work with all of them, and we also have, we've also luckily been picked by a lot of celebrities who just wear BIBA, and you do a spotted, or you actually find them, attending an event, or go, airport looks.
Take some
in
names.
BIBA out. So we have had, we've had Priyanka Chopra, Kareena Kapoor. We've actually have pictures of them, spotted in, like I was telling you about the asymmetric hemline, that particular style. We've had all of them wearing that style. So these are things which happen organically. But today, influencers are, like you said, they're micro and macro influencers, and we do tie up with them depending on the kind of followers that they have, or the engagement that they have, and what kind of product is given to which influencer is something that we decide. If there are these, suddenly if there's somebody who's always doing these Western looks and fusion looks. So we obviously find the right product, and we also give them sometimes a very Indian product, which they style so beautifully. Which they actually make it like a crop top, or they style it like an open shirt, which even I may not have thought of that it can be styled like that. So that's the beauty of the influencers, because they are so creative, and the way they style the garment actually inspires so many people to look at that piece of cloth in a different way. And we also work with a lot of vernacular influencers. So people, we do take influencers from the south, from the west, from the east. So there are a lot of festivals which are very region specific. So for example, if there is a Durga Puja, or in April there's a Poila Bishak, and in the south there are different festivals like Pongal, Onam. So we then take influencers from those specific regions as well, because a brand which has a national appeal, I mean, it's a beautiful way to actually show that even across, even in the south, for example, you have a white and gold collection which works really well for Onam, and the same similar thing could also work really well for Durga Puja. So we do have a strategy that runs across all the different parts of India, and yes, we use micro and macro influencers very, very effectively.
Yeah.
In fact, we also have done something different. We also believe that we also have come up with a song which we which is a BIBA song, and we came up with this whole thing of Beats of BIBA, where we started the dance challenge. So because we've realized that in all parties, in all chadis, women are so beautifully dressed, and mostly in Indian outfits, and they love doing the dance and twirling, and they look so stunning. So we actually created a song which is a BIBA song, Beats of BIBA song. It's available on iTunes, and even you can download it on Spotify. And we got influencers. We actually got dance influencers. We got even our own fans, to participate and do a dance. It's all over our Instagram. It did so well. The kind of engagement that we managed to get, through an activity like this. So it had nothing to do with our product really, but it's only about having fun, being able to enjoy that moment. Even during the pandemic, we saw people were sitting at home and they were feeling low, and then you do these dance challenges. We had great participation also through that. So I think it's about being creative, trying new things, and if you touch the right pulse, I think that's when the customer also appreciates what you're doing.
Right. So, two things. Ekta, do you want to announce any other styles that are coming apart from the salwars?
Yeah, sure.
Tell me.
So we have a fantastic workwear collection. So there is a whole thing about when we speak to women. Mostly, a lot of women wear only Western wear to work because they feel the Indian outfit is not considered apt. But trust me, today the kind of collections that we come up with, it's actually so formal looking. It's beautiful. We have a complete workwear collection which people can buy. So Biba as a brand, we cater to your everyday needs. We have kurtas that you can wear for every day. We have workwear. We have occasion wear. We have even like special party kind of outfits. Then we also have a tie-up with a designer like Rohit Bal. So we have a Biba by Rohit Bal collection, which caters to the luxury segment and has to the occasion wear very, very well. So there are different layers and different offerings that the brand has today for all your different needs, Indian apparel needs of a woman.
Ekta, when we say Indian roots and Indian wear, what does this really mean in terms of the product?
So Biba, at Biba we are known,
like you beautifully said that it's fine lines when it comes to fusion, and Indian and Western, perhaps this is the whole spectrum. What does this Indianness represent in terms of product, in terms of values?
We're a very warm and very, very vibrant brand, and there is this beautiful, there's this sense of enjoyment and merriment when you come to our stores, and that's the feeling that we would want. We want to participate in all your happy moments. So India is, of course, a country with so many colors, with such so many festivals, and we celebrate every festival. So we have something for every festival. that is celebrated in India. Biba is known for its vibrancy. Biba is known for its fits. Biba, the embellishment, the embroideries, which kind of brings out the beauty of, and it reminds you of all the cultural, things about India. So it just comes out really beautifully through our entire collection. And like I said, even different occasions, like right from maybe a godbarai to somebody's wedding to young girls going for their first interviews. So there are different occasions. It's not only about sitting at a puja and wearing an Indian outfit. It's also about going for your first interview. It's also about you know uh, going and maybe meeting an aunt after a very long time. So people go for brunch dates dressed in these outfits today because the product has evolved, and it just seems that these styles are perfectly fine to even carry out for your casual outings. So the occasions has really changed also. So while we were talking about Indianness, all the Indian occasions, all the festivals are very, very relevant to us. But we are also now catering to the everyday occasions. You'll be surprised that when we speak to women, we found out that even a parent teacher meeting is an occasion, and women dress up for that, because even children are conscious about how my mother's going to be turned up in front of my teacher, and there's an impression that she needs to make there. So these are small insights, and you want to be a part of all their lives.
Yeah, and a woman is playing so many roles that she has to get it right. She has to transition from one role to the other, and perhaps different
Absolutely. So, we also had women telling us in small towns that they have these different kitty parties. So it's not apparently one kitty party. They have a different kitty party for that they go with their mother-in-law, for which she dresses more appropriate because she's the bahu of the house and she has to look a certain way. And they have these friends kitty parties for which she has to be completely different because she wants to get noticed for her style quotient there. For there, she has to look different. They apparently have themes for these kitty parties. They have colors that they need to dress in. So lives are very, very interesting. Things like these are insights. How they need to dress up and they feel. So maybe like a different layered look that I was talking about, or palazzos with a short top, or skirts with shirts. These are the kind of things that people are actually wearing for even these kitty parties.
And as you're speaking, Ekta, it's also struck me that because the woman is so accepted herself, she's not trying to fit into any particular mold. So, what's right for me, what's right for the occasion, and what I want to speak. I mean, so many things fit in, and hence, not just my style quotient, what looks good on me. I don't have to wear just what is in, and I can mix and match to make it look that's flattering on me without me trying to fit into any kind of size or shape. So, my God, what times! What beautiful times to be a woman.
Absolutely. I think it's a great time.
Still, I just want one concluding thing about BIBA. Where do you see BIBA in a couple of years? What goal you're working towards as the marketer?
We want it to be a global brand. We want Indian wear to be, accepted globally, and that's, I think, something that we are working towards.
Oh, lovely, lovely. I think you're prepared for this.
You shot me.
Okay. The questions are trap questions. Huh? They will make you think, but you have to be quick. That is a tip I don't give to everyone.
Okay.
Alternate profession could have been
An RJ or a journalist.
Nice. What would you do on Mars for fun?
Dance.
Okay. As per your husband, your most often used phrase?
That would be.
One thing no one knows about you.
Not too many people know, but yeah. I like to write. I do some poetry.
Hey, lovely. I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay. A book you'd like to gift to all your friends.
The Little Prince.
Okay. What would you tell your 18-year-old self?
Live life. These are the best years of your life. Just go have fun. They never come back.
So true. What's something new happening in your life right now?
Redoing my house.
What is your favorite childhood memory?
Growing up, in a small town with the family, where with so much greenery and no expectations about anything.
Yeah, such a pretty picture that is. If you were to devote the rest of your life to philanthropy, what cause would you choose?
I think working with children. I love children, yeah. And I
Mm.
think if I can make a change or do something for the ones who need us, I would love to do that.
Okay, okay. What is your greatest joy?
My daughter.
How would you like strangers to remember you?
As an extremely loving,
How would you like strangers to remember you?
as an extremely loving, dear, and like I said, a crazy girl.
Yeah.
Hard to forget. Yeah, really hard to forget. Good know me.
Awesome. Okay. What is a lesson that took you a long time to learn?
How to say no.
Hmm. What is one missed opportunity that you wish you could have a second chance at?
Learning a sport.
Hmm. What's next?
A lot. I think we're at a stage where there's so much to do, there's so much to learn, there's so much to explore. I'm just so
Hmm.
totally looking forward to it.
So, Ekta, request you to share your online address, email, or anywhere our guests can reach out to you, ask a question, etc.
It's ektadatta@gmail.com. Very simple as it could get. It's
Yes.
Datta with a Dutta.
It was
Anyone who wants to write, I think most welcome. I'd love to hear them. I think just Ravi, what you're doing is, I mean, I've known you for very long as well. You kept saying that I know you since so long. I also know you for very long, and I think you've always had this very inquisitive and and you always used to ask the right questions. And that time you used to keep, we were in advertising, you used to keep wondering, oh, she's actually, you were the planner, and you had this really great way of asking the right questions and getting all of us to think and get the right answers as well. And today what you're doing with this platform is absolutely fantastic, because you're getting so many brand and marketing people together, and speaking to people across industries over such relevant and interesting topics. I think it's fantastic. I really wish you all the luck. And yes, the questions are sharp, but it's so much fun. And coming from you, can't expect anything but sharp questions and answers. So all the best to you. I would urge everyone to like this show and to be a part of this. I think it's a fantastic thing that just Ravi is doing out there, and she will continue to do.
Thank you so much, Ekta. It was wonderful to have you on my show. And one of the privileges of this show is that I'm able to reconnect with a lot of people that, life made us part.